In the outline topics phase, we're going to be organizing learning objectives into a hierarchical content map. This is going to be the foundation for what learning content we create in future phases. At this point, we've already collected and structured a lot of data about our project, so we're going to be pulling in the analysis document and the design document to help us create our outline. We're going to be filling in our information gaps by filling out an outline form that's going to capture our goals, objectives, modules, topics, examples, and assessment notes. Here again, we're going to be leveraging the AI model to create for us a structured topic outline document that represents all the topics to be covered in this training. In Notion, you'll have the ability to work through this outline, make any changes that you need before triggering an email off for stakeholder approval. And of course, as an output to this phase, we're going to have our topics outline that's going to have all of the topics that we need to cover in this training in a hierarchical content map that's going to set us up for building our lesson plan. Now that you get an overview of the process that we're going to go through, let's see how it's done inside of the applications through our workflow. Inside of Notion, we have our project workspace, our project details, analysis, and design document all created. So now we are working on our topics outline. So to get this topics outline created, what we need to do is go back and click on the design document and click on a link here to create a topics outline. But before we do that, I want to show you the AI prompt that's used to build the topics outline. And if you remember from other videos, all of our AI prompts are stored inside of Bookstack. This allows us the flexibility to be able to go into these prompts and make tweaks to them without needing to dig through the workflow automation nodes to make any kind of change. I'm showing you this prompt because it shows the template that's going to be used to create the outline. And at the top of this template, there is a place for a training aim and up to 3 training objectives. Now, to explain this next workflow step, you're going to need to understand this learning and development framework I created called the Weighted Objective Accountability Framework. After a brief explanation, we're going to jump back into the workflow and you're going to see how this all ties in. The training aims and objectives is part of accountability and reporting framework where you establish an overall goal for the training with a training aim and then define up to 3 specific measurable outcomes using Mager's ABCD accountability model. Once you establish your training aims and objectives, you're going to go through the process of assigning these objectives accountability activities in the lesson planning phase. Each accountability activity is weighted by its level of importance to the objective, and then each objective is weighted to its level of importance to the overall training aim. This framework allows for critical objectives to carry more influence in the overall score, and each training objective is reported on separately for each individual, giving a full picture of the participant's performance for the training. It's my experience that learning and development personnel often have difficulty with writing effective training objectives. Defining these training aims and objectives is needed for the AI to generate our lesson plan. To assist in the creation of training aims and objectives, I have integrated into this workflow an AI chat assistant. To access the assistant, you just need to click on this link here inside the design document. You can see that we have our chat AI assistant window right here. It's telling us that it's here to help us with our training aims and objectives. And to get started, we should provide it the Notion project ID, the Notion analysis ID, and the Notion design ID so it can pull those records. But before I put in those ID numbers that I can find inside of Notion, I'm just going to ask it how to write training aims and objectives. So it's given us a response. Let's take a look at what it says. So here at the top, it says writing training aims and objectives is a crucial step in effective training program, and here's an explanation. Training aim is a broad, overreaching goal for a training program, gives us some direction on how to do it, and here is an example. And then for training objectives, these are specific measurable outcomes needed to achieve the training aim. Here's Mager's ABCD sentence structure model, and here are some examples. The training aims and objectives is a framework that I developed, so how does the AI know how to instruct people on how to use it? It's because it's been trained on this framework, like it could be trained on any custom or proprietary framework or system of an organization. So now that we've been instructed by the AI, let's provide those ID numbers that it asked for and ask it to draft us some training aims and objectives and see what they look like. To access those ID numbers, I just need to go into my Notion project. Here is our design document, and right here is the ID. So I'm going to copy this and paste it into there. Then I am going to go to our project right here, expand these fields, copy this ID right there, and paste it into there. And then lastly, I'm going to go into the analysis document that we're using, and we're using version 2. And then there's the ID right there. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to paste it right there. And then I'm going to ask it, can you get me started by writing a training aim and 3 training objectives? When I submit this, the AI assistant is going to pull the records associated with these IDs and use those records to create our training aims and objectives. Okay, it's generated that training aim and objective. So let's go ahead and take a look. It says that it has retrieved the data from the Notion databases, and we are looking at the becoming a key contributor training that we've been building. So that's correct. So let's go ahead and read the training aim. Empower learners to excel as key contributors within their teams by developing advanced soft skills focused on trust building, and effective collaboration in a multi-day experiential learning environment. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at our training objectives: trust fundamentals, collaborative techniques, reflection, and application. Okay, so those are pretty good training aim and objectives, but I don't actually like this part right here where it's talking about it happening as a learning environment. I want it to be focused to something that can be applied on the job. So I'm going to go ahead and give some feedback to the AI and have it change this training aim for us. I'm going to ask it, can you change the goal of the training aim to focus on the on-the-job performance and not the multi-day experiential learning environment? All right, let's see what it says. All right, so the new training aim is to enhance the performance of learners on the job by equipping them to advance soft skills in building trust and fostering effective collaboration within their teams. Yeah, so that's a pretty good training aim. I just want to do one more thing. I'm going to ask it, can you tell me why this is a good training aim and how it relates to the training? Here I want to challenge the AI to justify its choice. If I can follow its reasoning and agree with it, then I think I could go with this training aim. So let's submit that. All right, so let's take a look at that. So we can see that it says it's a good training aim because it focuses on the practical application, relevance to the learner's role, enhanced team dynamics, broad yet specific. I generally agree with that. And then how this relates to the training: alignment with objectives, measurement of performance improvement, sustainability of skills. So I could look through that really in detail and see if I agree with that logic or how it came to that conclusion. If I have any issue, then I can ask it to rework the training aims and training objectives to get it to something that I feel really good about. So now that I've written my training aims and objectives, I can come back here inside of the design document and I can move forward with building out our topics outline. And I can do that by clicking on this link right here, create a topics outline, and that's going to bring us to our no-code DB form. This form gives us a field to put in our training aim and our up to 3 training objectives. And then it gives us a rich text field where we can just put in our topics outline. All right, so I've gone ahead and filled out our form with our training aim and our 3 training objectives. I also have a lot of information that's going into our topics outline. So you can see there's a lot of topics to cover for this training that we're going to need to do. So I'm going to go over here. Now that I've filled out that, I'm going to click submit. Just like the other steps that we've taken, submitting the form triggers the workflow automation. So let's jump into Notion and see it happening. All right, so that workflow has been triggered. So let's go down here. You can see that topics outline just popped in. So let's take a look at that. You can see it's created our links for us. And here is our training aim and objectives. And you can see that we have being a key contributor topics, and we have all of our topics here structured as the template says it should. Now, just like the other documents that we've created, we have the ability to provide updates to this or version up, and we could do that by clicking on this button here. That's going to take us to the record that we submitted. So we have our original topics outline. If we need to adjust anything there, then we can have the AI regenerate this for us. We can update by clicking here and version up by clicking here. And then lastly, after we've reviewed this and vetted it and got an internal approval for this, I can go ahead and click on this, and it's going to generate that email of this outline that I can send to stakeholders. Now that we have our outline of topics, we can now move to our next ADDIE automation phase, and that is to create a lesson plan.